The following portion of Daytime Tri-Cities is sponsored by AFI, your financial North Star.
Well, as parents, we know that kids are expensive, and we also know, as we talked about, money doesn't grow on trees, right? So how do we plan for those daily expenses while saving for the ones to come? Here to help us make money manageable is President of AFI Advisors, Peter Raber. Peter, great to have you back.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah, last week we were talking about, of course, relationships and financial, and today we're talking about kind of that next step when you have kids, which is a whole nother world of financial.
It's huge, and that transition, hopefully it's a planned transition that you can kind of get your mind around of where you're moving forward, because just even trying to have kids can be expensive. So whether it's just your deductible on your health plan. I had twins who are going to be 7, or I guess they're 7 now, they'll be 8 in September. You know, our deductible to have twins was almost a $10,000 event for us. You know, so if you're adopting, you know, without helps of grants, those can be $70,000. It's huge, just the fact of having kids. And then the stats vary and depends on what your kids are into, but to get a kid from birth to 18, the estimates are it's $270,000, $300,000 over the course of that time period. And it's just a massive amount of different expenses that come in across their lifetime.
And you actually sent us sort of a graphic that kind of shows what we're talking about here. And I like this because it kind of separates it a little bit.
Right. A lot of times we think about all those expenses at birth and things that you're changing your lifestyle, especially for first-time parents. You have no idea that transition. Your whole life changes, but monetarily it changes tremendously. I know, like I said, with the twins, we had 20 diapers a day those first months, so we were doing 600 diapers a month there for a while. That's a lot of expense. And then you talk about child care, especially if you have 2 working parents. Sometimes child care alone is the equivalent of a minimum wage job, and then you're balancing back and forth. Is it worth it to work? Is it worth it to have child care? Then we move kind of through that graphic. That car representing those teenage years, cars, you know, are getting more and more expensive. The used car market, you know, used to be able to buy, you know, your kid a used car for a couple $1,000s or a junker for $500, $600.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. And then you've got insurance and everything that goes along with that. And then all along knowing that you've got that graduation cap at the end. We're graduating high school. Hopefully we're moving potentially into college. And the cost of college is a real barrier for a lot of people. And if you haven't saved along the way, it can be quite tough.
Yeah, it's a lot of sticker shock when you start to look at it. And even if you're looking, you know, I know there's a lot of programs in Tennessee now available to help you, but still, when you're looking at that next chapter, those bills start coming in, and as a parent, your eyes get really big. Really big.
So obviously there's different types of college. If you have private universities, they're potentially $40,000+ a year for out of state, 48, 49 in some cases. You've got your in-state schools, public, you know, institutions, places like UT, ETSU, Northeast State. You know, Northeast State being on the community college here locally, and they all have different price tags that go along with them and different benefits to weigh back and forth. But there's ways to save for them so that when you do get that price tag, it's not as bad. So whether that's through a 529 plan, which allows you to save for college similar to how you would save for retirement, and it can really grow tax advantaged and make a huge difference. There's different strategies depending upon what your kid is really even looking at doing.
Yeah, because a lot of times now that move toward colleges, that whole world is kind of changing too.
It is, and college is going to continue to get more and more expensive. But college isn't right for everyone. And so a lot of kids are coming out not knowing what they want to do, but we've conditioned everyone that you have to go to college to be successful.
Yep.
And that may not be the case, or you have to go to an expensive college. You can go through a community college, and a lot of times, as you were saying, with the Tennessee programs like Tennessee Promise, Tennessee Reconnect, community college can be free from a tuition standpoint. There's still books and lab fees and everything else, but some people want that college experience. Well, go down the road, or if you're down the road, come up here try to get that cost as low as it can so that you know what you're doing will be worth it in the end. Or a lot of times apprenticeship programs are really another way to go that, you know, big companies, Microsoft, Mercedes, they're doing apprenticeship programs and they can be great.
Yeah, a lot of good information as we navigate this world. Peter, great to have you on the show. Thanks for coming back.
Thank you.
Give everybody the information. If you have questions, you can always check out their website, afiadvisors.com.
The preceding portion of Daytime Tri-Cities is sponsored by AFI, your financial North Star.